7 ways real estate investors fail. Hi, I'm Phil Pustiowski with FreedomMentor.com. I'm a full-time real estate investor, real estate mentor, and coach. And in this video, I want to share with you the 7 most common ways that I see real estate investors fail miserably. And why am I qualified to be able to provide you such information? It's because I've been a part of so much and I've experienced so much. I've been a part of thousands of real estate deals. I coach people all across America, Canada, and I get so much feedback. People send me emails, they make comments. Hey, I'm in this situation, I'm stuck. I deal with all these motivated sellers that they get stuck. I've seen where things fall apart. And in the real world, where there are great opportunities to make money, there are great ways to lose money and fail miserably. So in this video, you can be rest assured what I'm sharing with you is what I call the signal. It's the accurate, most truthful information on how it really works, as opposed to the noise. And I'll talk a little bit more about the signal versus the noise, and I do it in some of my other videos as well on the very last one. So, number 1 on this list is quitting. So, if you quit, I know that sounds simple, and it's somewhat cliche, this idea that, you know, if you work at it long enough, you'll be successful. But here's the bottom line. In real estate, first of all, a lot of people, they quit too soon. And I see it, where they get some momentum, they get things going, but there's an epidemic these days in this country where people see what's happened with companies like Groupon that in 2 years went from 0 to 6 billion. They see things like Facebook, and they see the kind of money that can be created with some of these technology companies, and they think that translates to every other small business in America, and it just doesn't. So what ends up happening is they don't make money in the first 3 months, and they quit, and they give up. Now, they may not say they're quitting or giving up. They may use certain excuses like, well, I didn't see results, or this is a good one, well, this is not a good use of my time because I've got a new opportunity that's even better. I call it the grass is always greener syndrome, where people are always looking for something new and different. After a couple of months, it doesn't work. And you've seen this when people go on diets or people try to get healthy and those kinds of things. It's very similar. So a lot of people quit too early. I submit to you that if you get active in your marketplace and you start to find out who the other competitors are in your local area that are also real estate investing, that the majority of them in 2 years will no longer be there. In 5 years, you'll probably be the only one if you're still sticking it out. And hopefully you're extremely successful. Most people are so transient, whether it's real estate or anything, so few people can just stick to it long term. And that's where the power play is. The longer you're in it, the more successful you are. And if you fall victim to any of the other 7 I'm about to share with you, if you just do this one, you'll succeed. I mean, if it takes you 25 years, if you stick to it long enough, you'll eventually figure it out. So the number 1 way that people fail in real estate is they quit. Pretty simple, right? All right. Number 2, run out of money. This one seems pretty obvious, right? Well, running out of money is not just not having access to money for a deal. It's literally not being able to feed yourself and you have to go on and move on to something else. It's getting excited about an opportunity, but then not having the ability to stick it out long enough for things to really start to make sense. So I made this mistake in the beginning. I actually quit my job and started real estate full-time. I didn't have any money. And I literally ran out of money. I was living out of my truck, eating on beans. Bad idea. So running out of money is very, very, very common. So that's why, and you'll see in another video, I say, should you quit your job? The answer is no. Stick it out. You need to have a little bit of money coming in. A little bit of money goes a long way in real estate. It keeps you in the game long enough to be successful. A phrase we like to use in my coaching team and I is staying power. If you're in there long enough, great things are going to happen. So run out of money is an easy way for people to fail. They just don't have enough, or they're not making enough at it, and so they literally move on to different pursuits, and they fail because they quit. Does that make sense? Number 3, doing bad deals. This one obviously sounds simple enough. Okay, yeah, I get it, Phil. So I failed because I did a bad deal. Wait a minute. This is what I mean by this. It's a lot more difficult to say no to a deal than it is to say yes. Especially if you're in a situation where you have to make a deal work because maybe you got started in this and maybe your spouse, significant other, parent, friend, family member, somebody's riding you hard and they're saying, well, You're not making anything happen. I haven't even seen you do a deal yet. So you get anxious and you start jumping on deals that aren't that good of deals. Typically, the reason why bad deals happen is either A, you don't know what you're doing, or B, even worse, you're anxious. You have to have a deal happen. Maybe you're in this full time and you need a deal to work so that you can actually keep your rehab crew active. I've seen that one before. That's just ridiculous. Just to keep your guys working, you go get a marginal deal. So simple for people to take on a marginal deal. What takes real discipline is being able to say no, especially when the deal is kind of close. And if you're really active and maybe you've got some competitors in the area and maybe you're looking at a deal and some other competitors are, I've seen where people bid up just to compete and beat their competitors. Stupid. Every deal has to stand on its own 2 feet. So doing bad deals, very, very easy way to fail and fail miserably. Another one, bad partnership. This is surprisingly common. There are some wonderful benefits of being in a partnership or a partnership-like arrangement where you've got more than one party involved in the deal and they both bring tremendous amounts of value. The problem is, what most people do is they go out, especially if they're brand new, because they're nervous and they're new and it's brand new and the industry's, it's got somewhat of a bad name. I mean, think about it. When you tell friends or family at a cocktail party, hey, I'm going to be a real estate investor. Oh, one of those we buy houses people, or it doesn't sound all that attractive and exciting. So what happens is, to buffer someone's confidence, a lot of times they'll go grab a partner, friend, somebody else to bring in just so that they can both be doing it together. Well, that's typically a terrible idea. I have seen so many good friendships, lifelong relationships, bust up over one bad real estate deal. One. Examples, I can go on for hours. The two guys that invented big wave surfing, I won't use their names, but these two guys, they invented what's now this incredibly popular sport. Those two guys did a real estate deal together to buy some land near one of these wave breaks, one of these big breaks, and it went bad, and so they don't talk anymore. Well, okay, another example. The people I used to spend the holidays with my family would be three families. Three different families would spend together on the holidays. Well, not my family, but the other two families, they did a real estate deal together. Went bad. Boom, they no longer talk. These people, we spent holidays together for 20 years. No longer talk. Boom. Two friends of mine from college. They graduated from college. They started doing deals. One was an attorney. One was a contractor. The attorney brought the money. The contractor did the renovation work. One deal went bad. They never talked again. They had been friends since they were kids. I mean, I could go on and on and on. Bad partnerships is such a toxic thing. Happens all the time. So what's the solution? Only do a partnership if the partner is bringing a tremendous amount of value, either extraordinary knowledge, money, or both, or just something that you don't have. That's critical. And then you also need to know exactly what is going on with the partnership. When's it going to end? I know a lot of people don't get married thinking about how they're going to get divorced, but in a business partnership, you need to know how things end. Because what most people do is they grab somebody who knows as little or less about real estate as they do, and they do it for an indefinite period of time, partnership, and things fall apart. This happens so common, I can't even tell you. And it's probably happening to you right now, some of you watching, and I'm sorry. But now you just learned, bad idea. Okay, and I'm not laughing at you. I'm simply making light of the fact that this is a very serious situation that you may be going through. Okay, so you quit, run out of money, you do bad deals, bad partnership. Oh, but there's more. I call it bigger and better things. And better, I'll say bigger and better deals. Okay, what do I mean by this? Well, another funny thing that happens is that sometimes people are successful. And then they go, well, if I'm successful at this, I can do bigger deals, and I can do bigger deals. And so what they do is they leave their bread and butter that's making great money, and that's killing it, and doing terrific, and they go off and they try bigger and better deals, and they go into something that they know little or nothing about, and then they end up, the whole thing falls apart. I can tell you all kinds of business stories, both real estate and in just the business world, where somebody has a cash cow, something that's extremely successful, but they get bored with it, or whatever, and they want to do something even bigger, and they go on to that and they lose everything. And you may know somebody that's gone through. So there's a phrase that that's been used in some business books called stick to your knitting. Stick to your knitting, where you stick to what's working. As you notice, I stick to my knitting. I practice what I preach. I'm in residential real estate. I am doing the simple single-family home, condo, and duplex, triplex, quad, simple residential stuff I've been doing for years and years and years and years. And people ask me all the time, Phil, do you do these big commercial deals now? No, I stick to my knitting because I know what brings in the dough. All right, here's an interesting one. You get lucky. And this is going to follow up with the last one too. This can be very toxic because what can happen is you can do your first deal and make a killing, and you may think you know what was the reason for the success, but you may be completely wrong about that. And so what ends up happening is you getting lucky gave you a false sense of security, and you end up falling apart on the next couple of deals. So I actually like it if somebody has to struggle a little bit in the beginning, because it helps them understand what produced the success, so you don't have a misassociation. So you don't think to yourself, well, it's because I'm so awesome, I'm such a genius, when it might have been just because the market was booming in that area for a short period of time. So getting lucky is a very, very big reason why people fail. It's because they get this false sense of reality where they think they were the ones in charge of that success when it had nothing to do with them. It may have been some external factor, and then 2 years later, they go completely kaput and they all fall apart and they realize, oh, maybe I wasn't such a genius. So getting lucky can definitely be a very, very common reason for people failing in this business. And the seventh one, you don't know what you're doing. Don't know what you're doing. Okay, if you are just getting started in real estate, hopefully you are trying to amass some level of education. But you have a problem. You actually have two problems. The first problem is this. You may have difficulty with intelligence absorption. What does that mean? That means the ability for you to retain the information you're learning. In fact, what happens to a lot of people is as they distance themselves away from school year after year after year, they put their brain on autopilot in a lot of ways, and their brain doesn't get exercised. The brain is like a muscle, and the more you use it, the better it gets, the stronger it gets, the better it gets at being quick, at absorbing things. It also has to do with your diet, your exercise. All sorts of things play a role in your ability to absorb information, especially intelligent information, the stuff that's going to make you productive in life. And so the first problem is, even if you have access to good information, if you've ever been in a situation where you feel like people have to tell you something 30 times for it to stick in that brain, it means you got to start exercising this thing some more. Now, outside of having a legitimate medical issue, the biggest thing you can do is exercise your brain by using it. And that will make a big difference. So intelligent absorption, but you have another even bigger problem. What is signal, which is truth, and what is the noise? What's going to lead you astray? I submit to you that the majority of stuff that you're going to watch, you're going to read, you're going to listen to, a lot of it's lousy. Now, you don't know it's lousy, but it is. And it's because, in a lot of ways, in a lot of situations, there are different, first of all, there are different angles that the information provider has. So maybe they sell turnkey properties, and so their angle is to tell you about a certain city and why now's the perfect time to buy in that city because of the jobs and blah, 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 blah. Well, that may be because they're selling turnkey properties. Maybe it's a real estate like educator, trainer, guru that really hasn't been involved in the real estate business in a long time, but they've gotten really good at selling. So maybe they're just selling their information. Maybe they're just rehashing old stuff. Maybe this is the worst. Maybe they have all of the best intentions, but they just are wrong. Maybe they're only good at their local area for investing, but they're still inaccurate. So you need to be able to find the signal. Now, whether or not you think I'm the signal, that's going to be up for you to decide. I've been doing this thing a very long time, and what is my angle? Well, what I do is I teach people, I train them. I hope they watch videos like this. I hope it helps them be more successful. And for a select few, what some of them do is they say, gosh, I'd like to learn more about Phil. So they watch my videos, they read my books, they do, and then some of them apply for my apprentice program. And my angle, if you will, is that out of the thousands and thousands of people who want to be in real estate investing, I select just the top ones that I want to work with that are going to fit for my program, and then we do deals together, okay? And that's part of my apprentice program. So that's my angle. And so if you're watching one of this and you become an apprentice, I need to make sure that all my videos are accurate, and they have just the absolute signal in here, because you may become one of my apprentices. And I want to make sure you're doing it right. You've got your head on straight, and you know exactly what you're supposed to be doing. But again, that's up for you to decide whether or not I'm providing signal or noise. So not knowing what you're doing is obviously a huge problem in any endeavor you move into, but especially in this business, because there's a lot of noise, a lot of smoke signals, a lot of rabbit trails you can go down that are just going to end up in you just feeling like, well, I'm more lost than I was before. I can't tell you the number of people I talk to that after they really dig into this industry and they try to learn more and more about it, they get a year or two down the road and they're like, Phil, I'm more confused than when I was started. It's very easy for that to happen because there's so much information out there coming at you from so many different angles. So it's easy for me to say to you, okay, one of the best ways to not fail is to know what you're doing. But that's easier said than done, because that means, number one, you've got to find the signal, the absolute truth, the best information out there. Number two, you've got to be able to absorb it, right? Okay, so these 7 right here, these are what I've seen are the most likely places where people fail. So let's talk about it. Number 1, don't quit. Number 2, keep your day job. Number 3, have the discipline to say no to bad deals. Now, if you don't know what a bad deal is, that's another problem altogether. I would avoid partnerships unless you're working with the right people that are providing a tremendous amount of value and you know the terms of that partnership. In other words, you know when it's going to end, those sorts of things. Bigger and better deals. As you've probably learned from technology, upgrades are not always upgrades. So stick to your knitting. And your knitting, you might end up going on to bigger deals. I'm not saying you don't graduate maybe from single family to apartment buildings and all that sort of great stuff, and maybe you end up building the tallest building in the world one day. But do it in a calculated fashion whereby you don't get rid of your cash cow. Keep your cash cow going and then go try something new. But don't give up what was working so well to go try something new. I would hope that you don't get lucky on your first deal where you think you know it all and then you start making moves that put you in a potential precarious situation, but you're so confident from the deal you did to begin with that got you lucky that it puts you in a bind. And lastly, you got to figure out what you're doing. I am a huge believer in mentors. I do believe that there are some geniuses out there that can read a book, watch a video, listen to an audio, and bang, go out and do it, and they don't need any more help. But I have discovered with real estate, there's only so much I can share with you from an easel board. There's only so much I can share with you in a video. Some of the greatest knowledge in real estate happens in the real world of you doing deals. And so I discovered that I couldn't move forward and become successful without a mentor. Okay, and so you might be able to do that, but probably not. You're going to need coaches or mentors around you, some people that have been through this to really walk you through this if you truly want to learn exactly what to do. Now, I do have a great video on that called Choosing a Real Estate Mentor, because I'm not a good option for you, by the way, if you're just going to be a traditional investor, you got a bunch of money in the bank, you're going to buy some properties locally, you may rent them out, you may fix them up, sell them. So I'm not a good fit for everybody. I'm only a good fit for those that want to be in the creative style of the business. And I'm obviously not going to be a fit for everybody either. I mean, we're not a very big company. So what happens is you've also got the added task of being able to locate the right mentor. You can check out that video, Choosing the Right Real Estate Mentor. It's in one of my videos. And I've got some other great videos that kind of go into more depth on these subject matters. I got a great video called The Worst Way to Invest in Real Estate, which if you look at the comments, you hear all these stories of terrible deals that people did. So that teaches you some bad deals not to do. All right, well, I'm Phil Pustiowski with freedommentor.com, and I really appreciate you watching this video. If you like what you hear, if you have some comments to make, some questions, you can submit that below here in the comments section. I try the best I can to carve out a little bit of time in my schedule each week to answer YouTube questions. You can also grab my book, How to Be a Real Estate Investor, on Amazon. That'll give you a whole lot of signal on this business. And if you really are interested in potentially working with us, head over to my website, freedommentor.com, and apply to the apprentice program. And we'd love to speak with you. We go through an interview process and all that sort of stuff. And please don't take it personal if we don't accept you, because the majority of people that do apply, we are unable to work with, either because of location, maybe we got some other people there. myriad of reasons. All right, well, thank you so much for watching, and happy investing.